Hello, Hope Kids. Thanks for joining me for our sort of bedtime evening story. We've been thinking about, haven't we, as a church, of what God's plan is for us. And we saw last Sunday that it says in Ephesians 4, verse 16, from him, that's Jesus, the whole body is joined and held together, and it grows and builds itself up with love as each part does its work. And I've got a great story to share with you today, all about God's big plan for us. Maybe you had it for Christmas. I think some of you did. So get comfy, wrap up cozy. Maybe you've got hot chocolate, and we'll enjoy the story together. Well, in the beginning, in fact, before the beginning, God had a very good idea. Have a look at all these pictures. It was an even better idea than solar panels, chocolate chip cookies, fireworks, roller skates. They were invented in 1760. That's a long time ago. The X-ray machine, the Lifecraft, colour TV, and the Super Soaker. Have you got a Super Soaker? I think lots of you have got Nerf guns. Well, God's idea was to make people, lots of different people, who would all enjoy loving him and all enjoy loving each other. They would all be made in his image. They would all be like mirrors, reflecting just what God is like. Because God is full of love, and they would be full of love too. So God got to work. Wow, look at this picture. He made a beautiful world for people to live in. Then he made the first people, a man and a woman. And he said to them, be happy, enjoy loving me and loving each other. Have a huge family that will fill the earth and look after the earth and enjoy the earth. God carried on creating people. All of them were made in his image, and all of them were different too. Some were men and some were women. Some loved reading and some really liked riding bikes. Do you like riding your bike too? Some had darker skin and some had lighter skin. Some had curly hair and some had straight hair. Oh, this looks fun, doesn't it? What a nice park. We live in God's world. We are all different, but we are also all the same. Everyone you see is different than you and the same as you. They might look different or speak different or play different, but they are all made in God's image, and so they are all valuable. Have a look at all the fun they're having in this picture. What would you like to do if you were in that park? Oh, looks like something's gone wrong. People ruined God's very good idea. The first people chose not to love God, and this is called sin. And because they chose not to love God as they should, they forgot how to love each other as they should. We're the same, aren't we? We choose not to love God. And so we're not able to love each other like we should. We sin. And sometimes we treat others badly because they are just different than us. People fight with each other. People are mean to each other. People laugh at each other. Which world would you like to be in? This one? Or this one? Because we have ruined God's very good idea, He is not pleased with us. Our sin means we can't be friends with Him or enjoy living with Him. So we need God's forgiveness, don't we? For ruining His very good idea. And it's the same for everyone in the world. People who like reading need forgiveness. And people who like riding bikes need forgiveness. People with darker skin need forgiveness. People with lighter skin need forgiveness. People with curly hair need forgiveness. And people with straight hair need forgiveness. But there's good news, isn't there? God was not surprised by people ruining things. He had always had a very good plan to rescue His very good idea. Just maybe turn to somebody in your family and just see if you can spot parts of the Bible story that shows God's very good plan. God got to work, didn't He? He came to earth as a person. What was His name? Jesus. Jesus loved people. He loved people who were different than Him. He loved people who nobody else would love. He'd say, "Your faith has made you well." And people would say, "I can see." He always enjoyed loving all the different people He met. Do you know, Jesus shows us how to enjoy loving each other. But people didn't love Jesus. Instead, some people hated Him. They put Him on a cross to die. But this was part of God's plan. That's a strange plan. But on the cross, Jesus took all our sin, all the wrong things that we've done and thought, so that we can too be forgiven. Jesus forgives His people for their sins. Jesus didn't stay dead either. He rose back to life and then went back to live in heaven. And now, in heaven, Jesus is helping us to love each other here on earth. Have a look at those pictures there. One day, God will finish His very good idea, and Jesus will come back and make the world perfect again. And anyone who has asked Jesus to forgive them will live there with their different languages and their different skin colours, and they will all enjoy loving God and loving each other. They will enjoy praising God for making rescuing and finishing his very good idea. But here's a very, very, very good part of God's very good idea. And this is where Ephesians comes in, which is what we've been looking at. You don't have to wait till then to enjoy it. Have a look what's going on here. Can you think where these people might be? Jesus welcomes anyone who asks him to forgive them. And when Jesus welcomes someone, he welcomes them into his family forever. He welcomes people who like reading, people who like riding bikes, people with darker skin, people with lighter skin. He welcomes people with curly hair, and he welcomes people with straight hair. And there's a close-up picture at the end. I wonder who this family is. God's family is called the church. Your church friends are your brothers and your sisters. Your wonderful and colourful church family. You, yes, you can enjoy loving them and loving God with them. And this is God's very good idea. Lots of different people enjoying loving him and loving each other. God made it. People did ruin it. He rescued it. And you know what, boys and girls? He will finish it. And with your church family, all at Hope Community Church, you can enjoy being part of that right now. I hope you enjoyed that story. It's one of our favourites. And we can really thank God that he has brought us into his family, the church. We're all different. We can all be forgiven. Praise God.